Democratic. A liberal group called the New Georgia Project made big waves on the left this year when they estimated that there are 800,000 African Americans, Latinos, and Asian Americans in Georgia who are eligible to vote but are not yet signed up. 800,000. New Georgia set a goal of registering 120,000 of those people to vote this year. As of Monday, which was the deadline for registering if you want to vote in this election, New Georgia and a dozen smaller groups said that they had met that goal. They were registering so many voters over the course of this year in Georgia that it appears to have made Georgia Republicans a little nervous. The Republican Secretary of State in Georgia, Brian Kemp, this summer he warned his fellow Republicans that, quote, Democrats are working hard registering all these minority voters and others that are sitting on the sidelines. If they can do that, they can win these elections in November. After saying that, then, in his capacity as the state's top elections official, the same guy launched an investigation into the Democrats' voter registration project. He issued a subpoena to New Georgia, ordering them to turn over any and all documents relating to the New Georgia Project or any other effort to register voters, store voter information, contact voters, or any other canvassing project relating to voter registration or voter outreach. Hand us over all your work. We called the Secretary of State's office about that investigation today. They said that out of the 85,000 applications submitted by the New Georgia Project specifically, they said 50 of them were found to be fraudulent. It's not 50,000. They say 50 out of how many thousand? They say their investigation is ongoing. Meanwhile, the New Georgia Project contends that over 40,000 of the applications they collected have not yet been processed. They say people who registered some of them months ago still don't appear on the voter rolls, and they don't know why. So where are those names? Has something happened to those applications? We asked the Secretary of State's office about that as well. They say they are not aware of any counties currently having a backlog or any trouble going through the applications. We asked whether there had been a backlog of thousands of voter applications this year. They told us, quote, all applications received by the deadline will be processed by the counties. This is the law, and it will be adhered to. Joining us now is Georgia State Representative Stacey Abrams. She's the founder of the New Georgia Project and the House Minority Leader. Representative Abrams, it's a real honor to have you here tonight. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So from the outside, it seems like there is not just contested ground in terms of registering people, but contested ground in terms of whether or not you and other Democratic-leaning groups are going to be allowed to register people. Do you feel like that's the fight that you're in right now, whether or not you're allowed to register folks?
That was the fight prior to Monday. It was whether or not we'd be allowed to complete our work. The fight we're fighting now, though, is making sure that those we did register are actually put on the rolls. The challenge here is not whether or not they've registered. These are completed applications that have been duly processed. The problem is they've gone into a black hole and we can't find those voters. And if we don't find them by Election Day, they will not be counted, and that's wrong.
Do you think that they're in a black hole at the county level or a black hole at the state level? What do you suspect has happened here?
The point is not where they are, but whose responsibility it is to find them. The Secretary of State is the state's top election official. It is his job to make certain that every registered voter makes it to the rolls. So if that means helping the counties, if it means asking the same questions we're asking, if it means verifying that the systems that are now in place, these new systems to match to prove citizenship, making sure those systems are working properly, whatever he should do, the Secretary of State must do to guarantee these voters make it to the rolls. Pinning the blame on the counties is irrelevant. It's his job to make it happen.
How many voters do you think we're talking about here in terms of people who think have been duly registered, who have done all the paperwork properly, but then who have disappeared and not turned up on the voter rolls? How many do you think it is overall? And what proportion is that of the overall number of voters who you and your project got registered this year?
So we believe that the number is more than 40,000. We get updated information. And here's the reason we're most concerned. Of that number, at least 44% were between the ages of 18 and 25. Another 20% were between the ages of 25 and 35. So you're talking about 60% of these new registered voters who do not know if they'll be able to cast their first ballot being under the age of 35. And if we don't get them engaged, if we have a chilling effect on their very first time to vote, they may never come back to the polls, and that should terrify all of us.
What happens next in your effort to find these voters and in order to get in your effort to get the Secretary of State to try to essentially take the bull by the horns and figure this out. What are you going to do next?
Well, we invited them to meet with us, and our attorneys were working with the Lawyers Committee. We asked them today, actually a couple of days ago, to meet with us. They declined today to meet with us, saying that they'll get it taken care of. But they refused to acknowledge that there's actually a problem, so I don't know exactly what they're taking care of. So we are considering all our options. There are a range of opportunities from legal action to civic action, but what we will not do is stand idly by. The New Georgia Project is not just about registering voters, but really converting these folks into really engaged voters. If you go to our website, www.newgeorgiaproject.org, one thing that we've done is actually put information, a great video, both in English and Spanish, that explains how to vote. We want this to be a process that everyone can be a part of, not just getting registered, but turning these folks out to vote so they become active and engaged citizens.
Georgia State Representative Stacey Abrams, the minority leader in the Georgia State House and the leader with the New Georgia Project. Thanks for helping us understand that 30,000 voter registration forms gone missing in Georgia ought to be a big national story. Good luck. Keep us posted.
Thank you, Rachel.